up, guys? The Bench Buddies are back with our Week 9 NFL Power Rankings. Before I get into it, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Get to 200 subscribers where I'll be doing that autograph item giveaway. Could be some cards, could be some memorabilia. So make sure you guys are entered into that. So we'll start it off here with Houston coming in last. And they had a close loss to the Titans, but this offense is just no good. Brandon Cooks traded. Nope. They're going to keep him, and we're going to see what they do tomorrow night with the Eagles. Probably should lose that one. And the thing for me is, will Cooks even play? Because he really wanted to be traded. He's not, obviously. And, that's just going to be a huge loss for them outside as well for the weapons for Davis Mills. They have Dameon Pierce, though, who looks like a bright spot for the future. 31, we have the Detroit Lions come off a close loss to the Dolphins at home, and they get the Packers at home this week, who are in need of a win as well. So you got 1-6, 3-5 in the same division, needing a win. But the Lions are on a 5-game losing streak, and I expect it to get to 6 just because I'm biased. But this offense doesn't look that bad. I know they traded TJ Hockenson away, and it's going to hurt Goff. I think his stat line a little bit, but it's going to open it up for the wide receivers, get them some more touches. And Jamal Williams and DeAndre Swift will have to be the key factors in every single game if this team wants to win. 30, we got the Chicago Bears. Put up a lot of points, but gave up even more to the Cowboys. And they get the Dolphins this week at home, so it's not going to get any easier. Fields look decently better. They got him Claypool, so that'll be an interesting connection to see. And Khalil Herbert, is he going to be the new running back moving forward? Because he's really played up to speed and really been there for everything. But Montgomery is slowly lacking just kind of these things. But it's going to be interesting to see if it's going to be a committee, like a strict committee still going forward. But I think Herbert has done more than enough to pass him. 29, we have the Panthers with a close overtime loss to the Falcons. DJ Moore, obviously his insane catch on the helmet toss, and then the missed extra point, the mixed field goal. It just didn't, just going typical Panthers here. And D'Onta Foreman obviously had a great game. PJ Walker has looked like a very good option, at least off of one game, maybe a little bit of an overreaction for this team for the rest of this year for sure. The intent is to start him the rest of the year, and he deserves it. He finally gets his shot to prove if he can belong. 28, we have the Jacksonville Jaguars. Close loss in London to the Broncos, come back to face the Raiders who are 2-5. So two teams that are going to be needed to win. But the Jaguars are on a 5-game losing streak here after being 2-1 to start the season and as high as ranked as 14. So this team really needs to step things up if they really want to get back into the race. But then that's going to have to come on Travis Etienne. He's finally a running back one now, and he's fully healthy. And you can see that stat line there. He went off, and if he's going to have to keep having big games if they want to compete. 27, we got the Pittsburgh Steelers. Nothing much to be said here about this offense. Very bad performance of the defense. Got rid of Claypool, brought in cornerback, and Najee Harris has just not looked like the same Najee. So maybe he can have a better second half and turn his season around. 26, we have the Raiders. They got blanked. Couldn't stop Kamara. And the offense is just non-existent in my opinion. Devontae, how do you only give him one catch for 2 yards? Darren Waller, he's hurt. He's going to rejuvenize the offense, hopefully, when he gets back. But Derek Carr just needs to play better. And maybe Josh McDaniels is gone after only 1 year. 25, we got Cliff Kingsbury's Cardinals. They're 3-5 and a tough loss to the Vikings in Minnesota as they need to right the ship here this week very quickly versus the Seahawks. And it's a big game for them, an interdivisional game. D-Hop obviously has been balling out since his return, but Kyler Murray just needs to not throw interceptions. And if he does that, I think they might walk away with a win in that game. 24, we got the Broncos going into a bye this week. They got the win in London, a much-needed win. Russell Wilson proved he still is good, Russ. He can still cook something. But the only thing for me is this defense now in question with Bradley Chubb gone. I know they got a good return for it, but it's going to be interesting to see how they play coming out of the bye week with a lot of time to prepare. 23, we got the Colts. They had this game in the bag until a late Taylor Heineke, Scary Terry just comes down with that insane catch. But if that doesn't happen, then they probably walk away with the win in this one. So I couldn't move them down anything past 23 here. Sam Ellinger, they brought in a new quarterback, we'll give him a shot, and it really didn't change anything for this offense. So maybe it's going to be a few weeks. We'll really see a big change, but for right now, I don't see anything changing. 22, we got the Commanders moving up a lot here. They're on a 3-game winning streak. Scary Terry, as we just mentioned, went off and had a big catch. Heineke's looking great. And he could be the option, even if Wentz does return this year, to keep Heineke in, because his team wins when Heineke is the quarterback. 21, we got the Rams dropping a ton, dropping 7 spots, just because this team just doesn't look like the Rams yet. And they can't beat the Niners in the regular season, at least, 2 years in a row. Seems that way. Matthew Stafford has looked sluggish. Cooper Kupp tweaked his ankle. He should be fine this week, though. And it's a big game for both these teams, the Rams and the Bucks. 20, we have the Browns moving up some spots here with a big win on Monday Night Football. They dominated on the ground. Brissett looked great. Him and Cooper are getting an even better connection. And Deshaun is just almost back. He's almost back. If they can come out of the bye, get a win or two, be right around 500, then this Browns team could make a late run. 19, we got my Packers, and we lost to the Bills. Saw that one coming. And Rodgers lost his 13 primetime game winning streak. But the only thing that gives me slight hope is Aaron Jones was heavily involved. They finally started giving him the rock a lot. Bills really couldn't stop him. They didn't have an answer for it. But the second half of the tape showed, and they limited the Bills to only 3 points on defense. So they're figuring things out as they go, but they just need to piece together a whole game. And what game would be better to do it again against the Lions? 18, we got the Saints, blank the Raiders. Kamara goes off, and Andy Dalton looks like the answer. I know he still threw 3 picks, right? But they still won. And at the end of the day, that's all that matters. They go in, get the win, and now they're going to have to do the same thing against a tough Ravens team. 17, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They lost a close one to Baltimore, and now they got the Rams coming in their place. Shaq Barrett's done for the year, and Brady obviously got divorced and took a loss this week, and just a lot of things for the Bucs that aren't going right. But can they right the ship here? They are only 1 game back in the division. Get a win this week against the Rams, Falcons lose, and you're tied for first. So the Bucs still have everything right in front of them. It's not out of the occasion yet. 16, we got the Falcons, and well, they're moving up a ton here. I know it's a win over the Panthers, right? But you got to give them credit. They're 4-4, winning the NFC South right now and exceeding definitely my expectations, because I think I had them only winning 4 games this year. And Mariota's been looking great. Pitts is playing good. I mean, the backs, Algier and Huntley, have been playing good, and Cordell Patterson might return this week against the Chargers. So this Falcons team is slowly moving up. And if they do, well, they might somehow, some way steal this division at the end of the year. 15, we got the Jets moving down a ton. This is more on Zach Wilson than anything, and even Breece Hall, because he's hurt. The rushing game was not there with only 50 yards. James Robinson was brought in. I know it's his first game, so maybe he'll be more comfortable this second week, but they just struggle in the second half. They've lost 13 on the road now to the Patriots, and how do you get rewarded? Well, you get the Bills. So if you really want to show us how good of a team is, you get this. You get the best team in your conference, and show us what you got, how you can compete. And if the Jets do make it a close game, 1-possession game, they might be around this ranking again next week. And if they win, they might be jumping back up into that top 10. 14, we have the Patriots, who just beat those Jets. Belichick moved to second all time in most coaching wins. The defense obviously came through clutch, making Zach Wilson throw 3 picks. And Ramondre Stevenson has been an absolute beast this year. So if they can keep this up, the Patriots should be floating around 500 at least at the end of the year. 13, we got the Chargers coming off of a bye, going into Atlanta in a much-needed win for both teams. And Herbert, he's going to have to play a little better than he has been. I know he's without Mike Williams now for a little bit. If Keenan Allen, can be fully healthy like he says he is, Gerald Everett's been a good option for him as well. And obviously Austin Eckler has been tearing it up. If he can find all 3 guys, get them involved, I think the Chargers can come out with a victory. 12, we got the Cincinnati Bengals. Tough loss to the Browns on Monday Night Football. They get rewarded with an easier game, hopefully, for them with the Panthers. Couldn't run the ball, gave up a lot of rushing yards. Burrow just nonchalant, had a decent game, but just couldn't get scoring going in the first half. 11, we got the 49ers, who absolutely dominate the Rams for the 4th straight season, have swept that series. They go into a bye week sitting at 4-4. McCaffrey's already being a huge contribution to this team, only in his second week with the team. Jimmy G looks great, only 4 incompletions. And this Niners team does look very scary right now. 10, we got the Giants falling to the bottom of the top 10. And this is mostly in part to the offense just struggling and sputtering. And defense gave up in the fourth quarter. It seemed like they were tied to come out flat and just lose that one. So you got to give credit to Geno and his guys. And those guys are coming in at 9, and they get to go to Arizona in a tough game on the road for a team that needs a win. And the Seahawks have solidified that they are a top 10 team. It's their 5th win in the last 6 meetings against the Giants. So, and they're also on a 3-game winning streak right now. So this team is starting to catch fire. They're leading the NFC West, and Geno's looking like the answer for maybe even past this year. So if he can go and get a win in Arizona, the Seahawks team, you can't write them off, and you can't call them a fluke either. They sit there at 6-3. 8, we got the Dolphins jumping back into the top 10 with their win in Detroit. It was a very high scoring game in the first half, and they came through in the second, shut the Lions out in the second half. It's Tyreek and Jalen Waddle took over. Over 300 total yards, 2 touchdowns. Tua, every time he started and finished the game, he's 5-0, and that's what happened here. So they just need him to stay healthy, and they're going to win the Super Bowl because they're undefeated. 7, we got the Ravens beating Tampa in Tampa, and that's a huge win for the Ravens. And I don't think a lot of people are acknowledging that, right now. It's 5-3, okay, so what? And that division, I think, is going to be up for grabs. But if the Ravens can start to reel off some wins here, get a win in, New Orleans as well, 6-3, they could slowly start pulling away with that division. And I think they can do that with the talent on this roster. 6, we got the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry was the main attraction here, going for over 200 rushing yards and 2 touchdowns. And he's done this multiple times against the Texans. And the only other positive thing to talk about is Malik Willis got a win in his first career start. Other than that, he didn't really do anything. Starting our top 5, we got the Dallas Cowboys entering a beat down on the Bears, and that is thanks to Tony Pollard. With Zeke out, he went off for my fantasy team as well. They scored 7 touchdowns. Dak had a good day, and things are looking bright. And as they come out of the bye, they go to Lambeau, which should be a great game because I will be there. 4, we got the Kansas City Chiefs. Coming out of a bye, they get the Titans on Sunday Night Football. This one is on Mahomes. I think if he can have a good game, limit the INTs, they should walk away with the W. And Kadarius Toney, could he make an immediate impact for this team? 3, we got the Minnesota Vikings staying put. They beat the Cardinals. Now they have to go into Washington and play the hot Commanders. But this team relates it back to the Eagles game. Since that game, they really turned things around. They're on a 5-game winning streak. And you can thank Dalvin Cook really, lighting a fire under him. And he is now coming into his own. Kirk Cousins played well. This Vikings team, they're looking pretty scary. They have a very easy division with the second place team at 3-5. It's theirs for the taking. I think if they win, 4 more games in a row here, it's over. That division has pretty much been decided. At 2, we got the Buffalo Bills beat my Packers. And they didn't really dominate. They did show that they were the better team with talent-wise as well. But they looked kind of sluggish for me. Josh Allen threw 2 picks. Didn't really, have that many completions. And they figured it out, though. They did do their job. And they get the Jets this week in a good game, hopefully. And at 1, for the 5th straight week, we got the Philadelphia Eagles. A big win against Pittsburgh as Antonio Brown just has a day. He was him against the Steelers. Jalen Hurts had a good day as well. Obviously, throwing to A.J. Brown is pretty much a lock. And how long is this team going to be undefeated? They got Houston, should be a dub. They got Washington, should be a dub. Depends on if they are on that winning streak still. Indy, they're struggling, should be a dub. Green Bay, struggling, should be a dub. And I think Tennessee and the Giants would be probably one of the first 2 teams that I think the Eagles could lose to. So if you're going into Tennessee, you're 11-0 sitting there, and they'll be sitting atop our power rankings until they lose. But that's going to be it for the video today. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button to be entered into our giveaway. But until the next time, the Bench Buddies are out.